All right, we'll go to the next one here. This is going to be the fourth, because it's the fourth here, perfect fourth. And so this 4 stands for the relative position 4, and this 5 stands for the distance, not to be confused of the 5-note away perfect fourth and the 7-note away perfect fifth. Those can be confusing because of the 2 5s here. This is a 5-note away perfect fourth. The inverse is a 7-note away perfect fifth. Now, because this is a fourth, that means that it's not going to be in our group of chord construction notes, because we skip every other note. 1, 3, 5, 7. Last note is the 7, and therefore we're going to go around the horn. The 9 is equivalent to the 2, and the 11 then is equivalent to the 4. So then from a chord construction standpoint, we have to have 2 names for the same thing, which often happens in our Western music consumption, the way we conceptualized it. So it's either going to be a 5-note away perfect fourth or an 11-note away perfect, a 5-note away perfect fourth or a 5-note away perfect 11th. Okay, so then if I go on the same string, it's going to be 5 notes away from this G, which would be up here. So boom, 5 notes away. So if I went from this G to here, that's what it's going to sound like. So the 5, notice that the perfect fourth is in the major scale and it's in the normal minor scale as well. So we see it all the time, but it's not as ubiquitous as the 7-note away perfect fifth, because again, we kind of skip it when we do basically our chord construction. So it's possibly not as comes to your mind as easy as the shapes for the perfect fifth, although it is the inverse shapes. All right, so let's go above it. So if I go above it, I'm looking for this C. So we're going to go above it and cross the fault line. So whenever I go above it, I have to take a look at the inverse distance. So a 5-note away perfect fourth is 12 minus 5, which is going to be a 7. The inverse of the perfects are each other. So it's going to be a 7 notes away distance that we're looking for. I have to cross the fault line. I'm going to cross diagonally this way to get a distance of 5. So I'm going to go 5, 6, 7. Let's count it out this way. So we're going to be from here, -5, -6, -7. So if I went from top to bottom, from the C to G, that would be a 7-note away perfect fifth. Bottom to top, therefore, from the G, bottom to top is a 5-note away perfect fourth. Therefore, if I go up 1 string, the 5-note away perfect fourth is going to be 3 frets back if I cross the fault line. But I wouldn't cross the fault line like if I was here on the bottom bit. The only time I would cross the fault line is on the string if I was going up 1 string. So if I was here or if I was here, I wouldn't cross the fault line. So that means that normally, if I go up 1 string, the 5-note away perfect fourth, which could also be called the 5-note away perfect 11th, will be 2 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which only happens on the B string, which is where I happen to be, in which case, if I go up 1 string and cross the fault line, the 5-note away perfect fourth, which could be called the 5-note away perfect 11th, is going to be 3 frets back. All right, let's go up another string, try to crank this out. We're running long on time, pulling too much time, going 2 strings up above it. I'm looking for a 5-note away perfect fourth, so I take the inverse distance. 12 minus 5 is 7. I have to go diagonal because we're crossing the fault line for a distance of 5, 10, 9, 8, 7. So let's go from here. We're going to go 5, 10, and then I'm going to go -10, 9, 8, 7. So right there, that's C. So top to bottom would be a 7-note away, which would be a perfect fifth. Bottom to top, therefore, would be a 5-note away perfect fourth. So if I go up 2 strings, the 5-note away perfect fourth will be 2 frets forward unless I cross the fault line. If I cross the fault line, but I wouldn't cross the fault line if I was on either the G or the D string. So if I was on this G string and I went up 2 strings, it would be here. So the rule is, if I go up 2 strings, the 5-note away perfect fourth, which could also be called the 5-note away perfect 11th, will be 3 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which would happen 2 out of 3 times that I could go up 2 strings on the B and the E string, in which case, if I go up 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 5 note away perfect 4th, which could also be called the 5 note away perfect 11th, is going to be 2 frets forward. Okay, so let's go up to the next one. I'm wearing down here. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets back. So I'm looking for the 5 note away perfect 4th, which could also be called the 5 note away perfect 11th, looking for the inverse distance because I'm going above it. 12 minus 5 is a distance of 7. I have to go diagonal because I'm crossing the fault line to get to a distance of 5, 10, 15. There's only 12 notes in the musical alphabet, so I can bring that back down by taking 15 minus 12, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. Let's do it from here. So it's going to say -5, -10, -15. 15 minus 12 is -3, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. So from here to here, so if I went from this C to G, that would be a 7 note away perfect 5th, and therefore from bottom to top would be a 5 note away perfect 4th or 5 note away perfect 11. So that means if I go up 3 strings and cross the fault line, the 5 note away perfect 4th or 5 note away perfect 11 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets back. And I wouldn't cross the fault line only if I started on the G string. So if I was on this G string and I went up, then I would be here. So the general rule is if I go up 3 strings, then the 5 note away perfect 4th, which could also be called the 5 note away perfect 11, will be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which would happen 2 out of 3 times. By the way, the last one I messed up. The last one, if I go up 2 strings, wasn't 2 out of 3 times. It would be even crossing the fault line versus not crossing the fault line. This is the one where I can only go up using these 3 strings to go up 3 strings. So 2 out of 3 times I would cross the fault line, and this time I wouldn't. So if I go up, so the rule is, if I go up 3 strings, then the 5 note away perfect 4th, which could also be called the 5 note away perfect 11th, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on the B and the E string. In which case, if I go up 3 strings and cross the fault line, the 5 note away perfect 4th, which could also be called the 5 note away perfect 11, will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets back. Okay. Otra vez. Let's go here. All right, if I go to the top string, it might be easier for me to go below it and then match that to the top string. So if I'm on this string, I'm going to say, well, if I measure to the one below it, it'll be the same note on the top. So I might say, if I go below it, I don't have to take the inverse distance. It would just be a distance of a 5 note away, and that would be right underneath it. I don't have to go diagonal because I'm not crossing the fault line. If it's a C here, it's a C up top. If I count it up top, however, I could say a negative. Now I need to take the inverse distance. 12 minus 5 is a distance of 7. I have to go diagonal across the fault line to get a distance of 5, 10, 15, 12 notes in a musical alphabet. 12 minus 15, or 15 minus 12 is -3, plus another 5 is 8, and then 7. So let's count it out this way. So -5, -10, -15. 15 minus 12 is -3, plus another 5 is 8, and then we go 8, 7. So top to bottom from this C to the G would be a 7 note away perfect 5th, and therefore the inverse would be a 5 note away perfect 4th, which could also be called a 5 note away perfect 11. So that means if I go up 4 strings, I will always cross the fault line because I can't go up 4 strings and not cross the fault line, and therefore the 5 note away perfect 4th, which could also be called the 5 note away perfect 11th, will always be on the same fret. All right, let's go below it. If I go below it, I don't have to look for the inverse distance, but can rather just look for the distance of 5 note away for the 5 note away perfect 4th, 5 note away perfect 11th. I don't have to cross the fault line because there is no fault line between the bottom 2 strings, so it's right below it to get a distance of 5. So here to here is going to be top to bottom 5 note away perfect 4th, which means, of course, bottom to top will be a 7 note away perfect 5th. All right, so that means that if I go down 1 string, the 5 note away perfect 4th will be on the same fret unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the G string, in which case if I go down 1, it'll be 1 fret forward. So the general rule is If I go down one string, the 5-note away perfect 4th, which could also be called the 5-note away perfect 11th, will be on the same fret unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the G string, in which case if I go down one string and cross the fault line, the 5-note away perfect 4th, which could also be called the 5-note away perfect 11th, will be 1 fret forward. All right.